up to 40% off. Plus, explore financing options that fit any budget, including up to 60 months. Click the link to find your local Ashley store or shop online today.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody?
With Hiller's new online booking, we've made it fast and easy for you to get a price and schedule an appointment for all your.
I'm gonna just give it a few more minutes, see if anybody else want to pop in.
Yeah, nigga, whatever. Yeah, bitch, whatever. Yeah, I am. I never let my niggas down. Nah, I never put some choppers down. Hit your bitch when I come in town. She ain't never let a nigga down. Catch a body with a trophy. We stacking and flipping the money. Bitches acting like they know me. You play and get put in the trouble. Blog put a nigga business out. Knock them down, now switch them out. I got ops I don't know about. Stand on business, we don't talk about it. Yes, I'm a big old stepper. Tuck to the face, boom, never. Real subject never folding. Home run, nigga, oh yeah. We do real number, real shit. Billy hunters, I take a nigga under. Watch 300, easy, new Yeezy before they drop, yeah. Call them numbers. Go dollar for dollar, shot for shot. We can go 30 for 30. No scholarship got it. You gave a bitch a Birkin, I just gave her some knowledge. Yeah, now the beat on some motion. Stop swinging and drop out of college. Yeah, we LeBron trying to go big. Now, bitch, can you tell me who holler? Yeah, we can go dollar for dollar. She walking and stripping and talking the bottle. Yeah, tattoos all over her body. The bitch ain't a shooter to tell her I holler. Outside cheddar, inside peanut butter. That's a bad motherfucker. Damn, pal, you be doing too much, but. And the now bitch gutter. I'm posted up like a street sign. Split a nigga two like a peace sign. Drop from the north to the east side. Been a street nigga since me high. Yeah. Hold up. Did not just say, did not just say. All my ops at the bill. Young nigga sick, young nigga ill. All of my niggas you name. It's like 70 mil now, another 100 on the way.
Hi, what's up, Dana, Gemini, A Child, GA George, the gym. I dropped the link in the chat if anybody wants to come up at any point in time. I did want to create this live just to put on record anybody's input to what they think about the things that's going on. I just find it very interesting how people are so fascinated with R. Kelly supporters per se. Like, for example, all these people needed to change public perspective. And for some strange reason, even though all these people were against Robert Kelly, it just bothered certain groups of individuals for individuals like myself to come out here and be against the content and the information they were putting out here. With that being said, I just find it interesting how a lot of people now want to try to act like they want to focus on the facts. Meanwhile, if you paid attention to any of my content and many other people's content, the information has been out there before the trial. So the fact that they weren't ahead of a lot of this information and now want to sit back and bring back this topic, it's just interesting to me. But I'm gonna just give it a few more minutes, see if anybody else want to pop in before I make my point.
Meet Shady Rays, sunglasses made for living hard and looking good. Shady Rays are constructed with the same durable frames and high-quality polarized lens.
All right, now content that I have lined up, getting ready to release, obviously is going to be highlighting some of these witnesses that were used by prosecutors in both the Chicago and the New York trial. And most importantly, I start with the most, I guess, janky individuals out the cases, considering if you look at their testimonies, it reveals how crazy a lot of these people on these platforms continuing to spin these narratives look. Like, for example, let's listen to this audio of what the news put out there in regards to Demetrius Smith's testimony. Now, we all know the underlining facts about what he did. We also know what played out in court versus what the media portrayed.
Candace, and I don't know if that's a legal term, but this had to come as a shock. Later this morning, Demetrius Smith will be back on the stand. He is R. Kelly's former tour manager. We've talked about him. On Friday, he told the courtroom that he bribed a government worker to get a fake ID for singer Aaliyah, who was only 15, so she and R. Kelly could get married. Our justice correspondent, Candace Kelly, is here with us now. Good morning to you, Candace.
Now, let's stop right there for just a second. The first thing that stood out to me was, why didn't they get this clerk that Demetrius Smith claimed he bribed? Why did they get some other clerk to come in and verify the process and how to get married? Like, that shows relevancy to what actually occurred in this specific situation. Again, when it came to this whole Aaliyah topic, it's so many underlining facts that were brushed under the rug, and just watch how they try to flip the scenario.
I know we already reported news of Aaliyah's pregnancy, the reason R. Kelly reportedly married her to save his neck. He thought, any charges for doing this with an underaged person. But it just, every time I read it or hear it, it's just so seedy. The tour manager, though, he tried to plead the fifth, and I wonder what you make of that. He has immunity, so why does that make a difference? Well, I think.
Let's pause right there again. Now, according to her and according to the news stories that they put out there, because, prior to all this surviving R. Kelly shit, we hadn't heard nothing about no damn pregnancy or none of this shit. From what a lot of us presumed about the situation, it was a publicity stunt, always had been a known and underlining rumor. So, with that being said, them throwing out there this alleged pregnancy, meanwhile, Demetrius Smith is on record saying he never knew of a sexual relationship. So, how could there be a pregnancy if there was never a sexual relationship? Number one. Number two, if this man was at a specific location on tour and they have this documented, again, this goes back to why the defense wasn't putting on more of a defense to rebuttal these janky ass witnesses. But let's just move over here to the audio in which Demetrius Smith clearly says he never knew of a sexual relationship with R. Kelly. And all of this shit started as a result of his book and the stories he was spinning.
All right, this is well. Let me tell you, I didn't call the parents. I work for Robert. I work for Robert Kelly. Listen to me. I work for Robert Kelly. Okay, this just happened. And we get to Chicago. I talk to Daryl. I say, man, what you doing, man? You can't do this, man. I'm supposed to call Daryl, but my loyalty was to Robert. Like I didn't know he was sleeping with him.
Well, you knew it was about to marry her. You knew it was uncomfortable, that it was illegal.
It was uncomfortable.
She was minor. I mean,
it was an uncomfortable situation.
Are you a father?
And at that moment,
yes,
I am.
So,
yes, I am.
Do you have a daughter?
I have remorse. I have remorse for that, man. So much. It was a bad decision. I made that. I'm not a perfect person.
Now, according to him there, he says he never knew of this sexual relationship. But somehow, years down the line, they have fabricated this whole pregnancy. That's why they got married, which made absolutely no damn sense. Because then they turn around and say she allegedly got an abortion. So hold up. This man allegedly gets this girl pregnant, marries her to avoid being penalized in order for her to get an abortion, then for them to turn around and get it annulled. But side note, they don't have these official documents. When they look this information up, they don't have that. But what we do have is evidence of these janky ass documents that have been printed, which the damn clerk got on the stand and said could have been printed from different locations. So, what exactly did prosecutors prove when it comes to Demetrius Smith? Hey, T.S. Brown, Carmel, Mr. Libra, McCann, everybody in the chat. What exactly did the prosecutors prove when it comes to Demetrius Smith? This man got an immunity deal. They're telling us, the whole wide world, that managers, assistants, all these people were recruiting girls, trafficking girls. Nobody else is prosecuted with those charges. Meanwhile, you have a person who claims he bribed an official by the name of David Orr. That would be the only clerk at the time. So I don't even know why he wasn't the person testifying and why they had somebody else. But who was this official that Demetrius bribed when previous to his story, he said it was a DHS worker? So which is it? Did he bribe an official or did he have a hookup with this food stamp worker? Then it comes to being printed in Vibe magazine. And nobody's seeing how much of a conflict it is for Dream Hampton, who was also employed by Vibe, to also be behind this Surviving R. Kelly production and use this whole marriage certificate bullshit as the catalyst to all of their accusations. Then you got Lisa Van Allen. Lisa Van Allen, who I specifically, I don't know how many times I said it could be readily available. She was at least 18 when she met R. Kelly on the Home Alone set. Yet, the mere fact that I noticed them manipulating her age, and all these people on the internet now want to talk about what happened at the grand jury when all this time done passed, and that could have been the highlight of everybody's fucking focus when I was sitting here talking about the whole Kim Fox, Michael Avenatti shit. Because, like I said, when you start a case with all this janky shit going on, you over here meeting with this extortionist, they over here passing out evidence, motherfuckers posting so-called evidence on social media, the witnesses out here telling their stories all over the place, exposing each other, your case falling apart. All this little shit that I said clearly would come back to bite them is going to do just that in the appeals process. So when it comes to people wondering why anybody or why people aren't giving updates on the case, unless they're talking about the appeal being granted, what updates could you get at this point? At this point, we all should know the facts. Now, if those people that are out here advocating so hard have confused you with some of those facts, I promise you, if you go back to my earlier content, you will notice some of the things that I was pointing out to your attention. And this was before a lot of these YouTubers came on the scene. People forget that before a lot of these voices came out, yes, there were individuals like Phases giving interviews with people who claim to be within the inner camp. But let's think about this as we reflect hindsight. Where was these goddamn people during the trial? Why didn't the defense bring on no witnesses? Like, it's so many questions out here. And then you got people that want to say, well, this team was setting up for this team. Well, to me, that's just like the conspiracy theories out here that think that R. Kelly is in on this whole plan and is willingly sacrificing his time in jail. That's like stupid. Like, I personally don't think nobody would sacrifice their freedom, sacrifice their defense in order to set themselves up for an appeal. But I could be wrong. I'm just saying. But that's the perfect example as to anything that I would come out here and say that made sense, that was common sense. It was always people coming out here doing the most, trying to convince y'all of some shit that just don't make no damn sense. Let's talk about Rashona. Like I told people many times, there were people out here, supporters in the rallies, all that bullshit, that thought this man was on that tape with that girl, that told me years prior she was testifying before anybody knew she was testifying. That was a red flag to me. If you go back to the Chicago bond pro offers, there were witnesses identifying her in the tape. It never specified she was cooperating with that whole state case in the first place. So, just looking back, it's not hard to believe, just as we saw other people being flipped, that is what happened in that case as well. Nonetheless, the fact that Sparkle then comes out here and contradicts the person that they've been working so hard to get on the stand, again, doesn't that continue to poke holes of reasonable doubt as to how guilty this man is? So to sit here and keep listening to people who automatically run stories like Chicago Tribune that are now trying to point out the things at the grand jury, when if you go back and even go back to my content, they've been a big contributor to a lot of this information that has slandered R. Kelly's name. Not too far from Jim Derogatis, in my opinion. But then, if you go back even further, look at these parent companies that own these magazines and media outlets that are running these stories. As we see with Kanye West making a very valid point that people don't get. These individuals controlling the media are the one playing these games with people who don't pay attention. What's up, Big Vi? Simply Miss Erica. But yeah, as long as we sit here distracted by bullshit, people ain't grasping what I put out here long ago. All of this is some political bullshit, in my opinion. It's mighty funny. Like, let's put this to the side for a second. Let's talk about Brittany Garner and how they're saying that she's a political prisoner, and these people are basically trying to trade her off for another prisoner in order for her to get back over here. Okay, so let's think about what they're telling us. These people have realized that this woman is an asset to America. These motherfuckers are worried about the upcoming election, so they trying to do whatever they can to get this woman back over here now at this point because she's a political prisoner. But look at all the other political prisoners that are over here in America that don't get that luxury. You got the FBI following basic celebrities. Like, it just came out not too long ago that Aretha Franklin had a file. It's so many other celebrities and high profile individuals that have FBI files because they may have said something that may have made these people feel like, hey, they may have some connections over here. But again, nobody wants to address how these people can violate our constitutional rights. And when I use a person like R. Kelly and show you this shit publicly, everybody just want to keep scratching their head, worried about the bullshit. Let's make this make sense. Even to this day, these accusers who became witnesses are still out here trying to grasp money anywhere they can. So, after all these people put in the work to bring out who they said was the money man, now all of a sudden, one of these accusers talking about R. Kelly signed over his life rights to this person for this amount of money. Meanwhile, let's think about it. If this actually occurred, think about the stories that Tasha K put out there about this man's life rights. Think about all of these janky ass documentaries these people are trying to put out. Think about all this janky ass shit we see playing out in our face and ask the $1,000,000 question. If this were so, where is the money? Just like with the government saying R. Kelly is a Rico and he trafficking girls. Where the fuck is the money? You telling me this man spent his career doing this criminal shit, according to y'all, and ain't got shit to show for it. Man, y'all, that's no. Exactly. A real criminal, they need to trade a real, and that's my point with the whole judicial system. Just like I said a long time ago, these people come out here telling us that because this man had money in the past, he got away with this. Now he don't have the money, we finna hang him to the cross. That makes sense to y'all? And then flip the script and tell us we are enablers because we sitting here saying, well, hold on. Shit. If that shit was happening, y'all should have did something about that a long time ago. This shit ain't making no sense. But nonetheless, the major emphasis of this little spontaneous live was just to put out there on the record. I just hate the fact that a lot of people are so quick to run with the things that make R. Kelly supporters as a whole look crazy as hell or just look like straight fanatics. When at the end of the day, a lot of us see the corruption within the case has nothing to do with this man's music. And at this point, I think just thinking about the man's interview with Gail when he said it's not about the music, I think if he could hand over his music and be free from all this shit, I think he'd just be like, fuck it at this point. Cause goddamn, he gotta pull a Tyrese. What more do you want? Shit. Exactly. And that's my whole thing about an underlining message also with my content is that regardless of how you feel about R. Kelly, the major emphasis is if they could paint R. Kelly as a trafficker, aka a pimp. Meanwhile, we see these people glorifying this push and pee. We see these people glorifying this getting flued out. We see these people glorifying other celebrities, you know, doing the same shit that would classify them as violating the Mann Act, but we gonna wait until they piss us off, and then we gonna come up with all these bullshit ass charges to lock their ass up. Make this shit make sense. Like it'd be different if you saying these people are doing these specific things and you act on it. But to sit up here and try to play with us and say We knew these people were doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. And the best you can do is come up with some fabricated nonsense, tie in people that this man don't even know, let these random people feed these bloggers and journalists all these source information, and nobody challenges how these prosecutors and other people are abusing their authorities. They are conducting, I guess you would say, prosecutor, what is it, malicious prosecution, when they're sitting here targeting these individuals, like for example the prosecutor in Georgia, to sit up here and sit back while a lot of this so-called gang violence escalates to the point that now we have to put the spotlight on these celebrities, like, it's absolutely ridiculous to me. Absolutely. And actually, that was the biggest red flag with the whole R. Kelly shit. If you go back to these people, Kim Fox, all these people who were looking for their political spotlights and their re-elections, they used that case to garner them credit. But at the end of the day, the mere fact that people can overlook how much negative attention she got for Jussie Smollett among the other criminals she has let out to repeat the same crimes, but put all this damn focus on R. Kelly, is beyond me. But anywho, her, Kamala Harris, all these individuals can sit here and get their money through George Soros. They can get their money through Epstein connections. They can get all of this money funneled into these shell companies. All these fake ass advocates can come up with these Ponzi schemes and other shell companies to keep their scams going. This shit is crazy. And what's the solution? That's a fact. Like, true enough, if these artists are dumb enough to be out here putting on wax, as they say, actual crimes they've committed, that's dumb as hell. But when we, the public, can sit here and see that they're trying to use these lyrics, not to say that they're admitting to crimes, but to um build this facade, this fictional character of this individual. Meanwhile, these corporations have had no problems with these individuals glorifying these characters they've personified. So, how in the hell can we as a people say that, like, for example, R. Kelly, Robert Kelly? Do I think that Robert Kelly sitting at home doing the same shit R. Kelly would be doing on the stage? Absolutely not. I think a lot of people lose touch in reality in knowing that these celebrities have personal lives. But to sit here and take, say, his music videos and say, well, this must be the lifestyle he's leading at home, you can't necessarily speculate on that. And then at this point, I think it's crossed over to, not only is it about um these masters with these musicians, Did y'all know that some of these people are taking out like insurance policies? Like we see a whole lot of shit going on in regular life where people will dead ass take in people and take out insurance policies on them, right? Well, a lot of these people in the record industry, they'll take out insurance policies on these artists the same way. A lot of people, like I saw a video not too long ago talking about how much money Barry Hankerson got off Aaliyah, for example. People don't even want to go down that rabbit hole of janky business. And that was another red flag. How the government gonna sit here and say R. Kelly is a RICO? The people handling the money, the people who conducted all the business, they not in the RICO. They not in the RICO. But if you follow the money, you will see that the money is doing a whole lot of shifting from their hands, right? So I'm lost, Make no sense. Another point, I think a video I did not too long ago, maybe last week or the week before, a lot of people don't realize that I feel some of these entertainers, they change their names, they act out like how we see Kanye and all these people dropping him now. It's mighty funny that Kanye and a lot of these influencers have endorsed, or sort of say, these brands, have made these brands cool in the urban community, and now these brands are so confused to the fact that if they turn their back on the people who made them hot, trying to twist their freedom of speech, what does that say? I read a lot of the commentary on like Adidas and all these people saying they're cutting their business ties because Kanye's anti-Semitic rants. And I'm scratching my head because if I heard correctly, I don't even see how some of these people offended because this the same conversation I have with a lot of people that look like me. Like if we have come to the conclusion that life started in Africa, you see where I'm finna go with this? If like I believe he was trying to say in so many words that some of us, some of our people, some of the people that look like him are the original Hebrews, Jews. So the other people that feel some type of way feel that way because they know they taking somebody else's history, and there's so many lost people out here that don't know their history, so they don't even know what's going on right now. So that's what I feel when it comes to these sponsorships trying to cut ties with these artists. That's like Ti, for example, when he said everybody gonna boycott Gucci for this amount of time and turn right the fuck back around and start back wearing Gucci. Meanwhile, the average black person is not typically walking around in no damn Gucci. Like let's be 100 about it. The average black person is not walking around with all these um $10,000 pocketbooks, $1,000 shirts and like let's realistically think about this. So when we have all of these people who are willing to sell their soul for $1, that idolize these name brands and shit, I think a person like Kanye is at a point to where he don't give a fuck about them people cutting ties with him. Like shit. Like what the fuck? And but that's just my opinion. And just being real, if R. Kelly had had some people on his side that had encouraged him to stand on the fact that he is powerful, he could have had his own record label doing his own thing, considering he wrote, he produced, he did all of this shit. But you telling me somebody like Lil Uzi Vert can have their own record label? You telling me somebody like Meek Mill can have their own record label? But R. Kelly shit just sitting in limbo. Meanwhile, all the little sketchy niggas around him plotting on it. Make that shit make sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you go back and look at R. Kelly's documents and Pacer, you will notice the media outlets that were looking at the information. So knowing that part, look at the reportings they put out and tell me that y'all don't see exactly what Kanye West is saying. Like they have all of the information. And like I said, if I could find a lot of the shit that I found sitting in the comfort of my own house, you ain't gonna tell me these federal agents ain't seen the same shit. You ain't gonna tell me these so-called journalists don't see this shit. And you ain't finna tell me that now all of a sudden they see the light. Motherfucker, y'all been seeing the light. Y'all knew this shit was fucked up. And now y'all trying to act like everything is cool. Can you hear me now? So that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this little quick live. I'm gonna try to make it a practice to come live a little more just to talk. I like to focus more on content if you hadn't noticed, but I wanted to open the floor if anybody wanted to come and say anything in regards to how people are now trying to spin new versions of how things went down per se. And or if you just want to continue to say that you support R. Kelly, aka Robert Kelly. If not, I'll just get ready and close this live out, and maybe I'll just pop up in another day or so. Oh, and shout out to Big Vi. I really did enjoy your last video upload. All of y'all content creators, if you're thinking about becoming a content creator, shoot me a email. You know, we could all work together on putting this information out there. Like I've said many times before, I'm not a selfish person. I don't mind helping people get their content or get their thoughts together. I just don't like all the pettiness and or people getting close to you just to stab you in the back, you know? But other than that, y'all have a good night. I enjoyed this chat. I hope everybody continues to keep the faith and continue to tag Free R. Kelly, Vindicate R. Kelly. Have a good night.